Do you know what it feels like when someone destroys your entire world with just a text message? When your hands shake as you read, "I think we should just be friends," and suddenly you can't breathe. When you stare at your phone for hours, waiting for them to text back, checking if they've seen your message, stalking their social media like a crazy person. That feeling, that desperate, obsessive, can't eat, can't sleep, can't think about anything else feeling. You think that's love, don't you? You think that's what it means to find someone special, someone worth fighting for. But what if I told you that feeling has nothing to do with them at all? What if I told you that the person driving you insane right now is just a stranger wearing the face of your deepest childhood wound? What if every person who has ever made you feel that desperate, that obsessed, that completely out of control? What if they were all just different versions of the same person, the person who first taught you that love means suffering? Carl Jung discovered something so dark about human attraction that it will make you question every relationship you've ever had. He found out that we don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with our own pain. We're addicted to the familiar feeling of not being chosen, not being enough, having to fight for scraps of attention from someone who doesn't really want us. That ex who treated you like garbage, but you kept going back to. That crush who gave you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to feel secure. That person right now who's making you feel crazy with want. They're all the same person. They're all your mother who didn't hug you enough, your father who never said he was proud, the first person who taught you that love is something you have to earn, something you have to beg for, something that gets taken away the moment you need it most. And here's the part that's going to make your blood run cold. Some of them know this. Some of them are doing it on purpose. There are people walking around right now who have figured out exactly how to become your trauma. They've learned to study you like a predator studies prey. They watch how you react, what makes you light up, what makes you chase, what makes you beg, and then they become that thing, that woman who seems to understand you better than anyone. She's not special. She's mirroring back your wound because she knows it makes you addicted to her. That man who's so mysterious, so hard to read, so impossible to pin down. He's not mysterious. He's calculating. He knows that the less he gives you, the more you'll want him. Right now, think about that person who made you feel more alive than anyone else. I bet they did something that reminded you of your childhood. I bet they made you feel small. I bet they made you work for their attention. I bet there were moments when they looked at you like you were the most important person in the world, and moments when they looked at you like you didn't exist. Sound familiar? That's not coincidence. That's not chemistry. That's someone who figured out your psychological code and decided to hack it. They turned your deepest pain into their personal remote control. Push this button, you chase. One button, you chase. Another, you cry. Another, you crawl back. No matter how much they destroy you. And the scariest part, you helped them do it. Every time you told them about your past, every time you opened up about your family, every time you explained why certain things hurt you, you were giving them the instruction manual for your own destruction. They weren't falling for you. They were studying you, learning your triggers, figuring out exactly how to keep you trapped in an endless cycle of hope and disappointment, just like the cycle you lived through as a child. But here's where this gets absolutely terrifying. You're probably thinking, okay, so some people are manipulative. I can spot that now. I can protect myself. But what if I told you that you are doing this too? What if the person you think you're in love with right now is actually your victim? Jung discovered that this isn't just about predators and prey. This is about two broken people finding each other's exact wound and pressing on it over and over again. You think you're the victim in your relationships? Look closer. That person you're obsessed with, the one you say doesn't appreciate you, doesn't see your worth, doesn't give you what you need. What if they're not withholding love from you? What if you chose someone who can't love you the way you want, specifically because it feels familiar to not get what you need? What if you're addicted to the pain of wanting someone who doesn't want you back because that's the only kind of love your nervous system recognizes as real? Here's what Jung figured out that will destroy your entire view of yourself. We don't just attract our trauma. We are someone else's trauma. The person you're chasing right now, you might be their version of the cold, distant parent. The person who's obsessed with you might be their version version of the person who never chose them. Right now, there's someone out there who can't sleep because of you. Someone who checks their phone, hoping for your text. Someone who drives past your house. Someone who talks to their friends about you for hours, analyzing every word you said, every look you gave them. And how do you feel about that person? Annoyed, suffocated, like they're too much, too needy, too intense? That's exactly how the person you're chasing feels about you. You are simultaneously the hunter and the hunted, the victim and the perpetrator. You're breaking someone's heart while yours is being broken by someone else. It's an endless chain of people using each other's wounds to avoid healing their own. Carl Jung spent decades studying the human mind, and what he discovered about this cycle was so disturbing that most therapists won't even teach it today. He found that every single person walking around is carrying what he called the shadow, all the parts of ourselves we've rejected, denied, or buried so deep we don't even know they exist anymore. And this shadow isn't just sitting there quietly. It's actively controlling your life, making your decisions, choosing your relationships. But here's the part that will make you sick to your stomach. Your shadow doesn't want you to heal. It doesn't want you to be happy. It wants you to stay broken, because broken is familiar. Broken is safe. Broken is all it knows. So every time you start to get close to someone healthy, someone who actually treats you well, someone who wants to give you real love, your shadow panics. It whispers, "This doesn't feel right. This person is boring. Where's the drama? Where's the chase? This isn't real love," because real love is supposed to hurt, and you listen to it. You sabotage the good relationship and go back to chasing people who make you feel crazy, because your shadow has convinced you that pain equals passion, that struggle equals love, that if it doesn't hurt, it's not worth having. Meanwhile, there's someone out there right now who could love you completely, who could give you everything you say you want: peace, security, genuine affection, loyalty. But when you meet them, you feel nothing. No butterflies, no obsession, no sleepless nights. So you reject them and call it no chemistry. But it's not about chemistry. It's about your shadow, recognizing that this person won't hurt you the way you need to be hurt to feel alive. This is why people stay in toxic relationships for years, but can't make it past 3 months with someone healthy. This is why you have friends who complain about the same relationship problems over and over, but never actually leave. This is why you yourself keep attracting the same type of person, no matter how many times you swear you're done with that type. Your shadow is running the show, and it has one job: keep you trapped in familiar pain. So you're probably thinking, this is terrifying. How do I escape this psychological prison? How do I stop being controlled by my own shadow? And here's where Jung's discovery gets even more twisted, because the answer isn't what you think it is. You can't just decide to stop being attracted to your trauma. You can't think your way out of this. Your logical mind, the part that's listening to me right now, that's not the part making your relationship choices. Your shadow operates completely below your conscious awareness. It's been running your love life since you were a child, and it's not going to give up control just because you watched a YouTube video. But Jung found something that can break the cycle. Something so simple, it sounds stupid, but so difficult that most people will never do it. You have to become friends with your shadow. You have to stop running from your pain and start having conversations with it. The next time you feel that obsessive attraction to someone, instead of chasing them or trying to win them over, you stop and ask your shadow, what are you trying to tell me? What wound are you trying to heal through this person? And here's what's going to happen. Your shadow is going to show you exactly what's broken inside you. It's going to take you back to the moment when love first became painful. It's going to show you the parent who didn't choose you, the person who abandoned you, the moment you decided you weren't worth loving unless you fought for it. But here's the part that will save your life. Once you see your wound clearly, once you understand exactly what your shadow is trying to fix, that person you're obsessed with will start to lose their power over you, because you'll realize they're not special. They're not your soulmate. They're just a random person who happens to trigger your unhealed trauma. And once you see that, the spell breaks. Real love, the kind that actually heals you instead of destroying you, doesn't feel like an addiction. It doesn't make you crazy or obsessed or desperate. It feels calm, safe, maybe even a little boring at first, because your nervous system is so used to chaos chaos, that peace feels foreign. But that boring feeling, that's not the absence of love. That's what love actually feels like when it's not mixed with trauma. But here's the final twist that Jung never told you, and it's going to change everything you think you know about love. The people who manipulate you through your wounds, the ones who seem to know exactly which buttons to push to make you crazy. They're not evil masterminds sitting in dark rooms plotting your destruction. They're just as trapped as you are. They're just as unconscious. They're just as controlled by their own shadows. That woman who keeps you chasing her by being hot and cold, she's not doing it because she's cruel. She's doing it because the only time she feels safe is when she has all the power. Because somewhere in her past, someone taught her that being vulnerable means getting hurt. So now her shadow makes her push away anyone who gets too close. That man who seems so confident and mysterious but never lets you in, he's not trying to torture you. He's terrified of intimacy because his shadow learned that opening up means being abandoned. So he keeps you at arm's length, giving you just enough to keep you interested, but never enough to actually connect. Here's what this means. Every toxic relationship is actually two people's shadows dancing together in perfect destructive harmony. Your wound finds their wound triggers your wound, and you both become addicted to the familiar pain of trying to heal each other. But neither of you can heal the other because you're both still bleeding from the same original injury. And here's the most beautiful, terrifying truth of all. Breaking this cycle doesn't just heal you, it breaks the chain for everyone you'll ever love after this. When you heal your shadow, when you stop being attracted to your trauma, you stop being someone else's trauma too. You stop playing the games, stop pushing the buttons, stop being the person who drives someone else crazy with want. You become someone who can actually love instead of someone who just knows how to wound and be wounded. So the next time your heart races around someone, don't ask, do I love them? Ask, what part of me is still bleeding? What wound is crying out for attention? Because once you heal that wound, once you make peace with your shadow, you'll discover something incredible. Love doesn't have to hurt. Attraction doesn't have to feel like addiction. And the right person won't make you question your worth. They'll make you remember it. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you haven't healed. Make that healing your superpower. If this video just completely exposed your entire dating history, if you're sitting there right now feeling sick because you recognize every single pattern I just described, hit that like button, because that uncomfortable feeling in your stomach, that's your shadow realizing it's been caught. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what wound have you been dating over and over again? Was it the parent who never chose you? The person who taught you love had to be earned? The one who made you feel like you were never enough? And if you've got the courage, tell me about the person you're obsessing over right now. I guarantee they remind you of someone from your past who hurt you, because once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it. But here's what I really want you to do. I want you to think about someone in your life who treats you well, who's consistent, who actually shows up for you. Someone you probably called boring or said there was no spark with. Go text that person right now. Not because I told you to, but because your shadow has been lying to you about what real love looks like. That person who feels boring, they might just be the first healthy person you've ever had a chance with. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to break every toxic pattern that's been running your life. Because we're not just talking about psychology here. We're talking about revolution. We're talking about breaking generational cycles of trauma that have been passed down for decades. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That friend who keeps dating the same type of person and wondering why it never works out. That person who's currently destroying themselves over someone who doesn't deserve them. Send them this video. It might save their life. Remember, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you haven't healed. But now that you know this, now that your shadow has been exposed, you have a choice. You can keep being a victim of your unconscious mind, or you can become the master of your own love life. The choice is yours, but choose wisely, because your future self is counting on the decision you make right now.